President Obama is drumming up support for his jobs bill in Ohio today, preparing to address a crowd just an hour from now in Speaker Boehner's district. Bill Burton is President Obama's former deputy White House press secretary and now with the group Priorities USA Action. Kevin Madden is a Republican strategist who worked for Mitt Romney during his 2008 campaign. Welcome both. Well, first of all, Kevin, I got to ask you about the debate last night. Mitt Romney and all the rest going after Rick Perry. Is Rick Perry really the man to beat right now, and does he have a lot of talent as a natural debater?
Well, I think we're at the genesis stage here of voters' consideration of all these candidates. It's really only the second debate now that we've had with all of the presumed candidates that are going to be on the ballots when we get to the caucuses and primaries early next year. So I think there's still a long way to go. You know, I think that Rick Perry is probably having a hard time now with the level of scrutiny that he's getting. It's really easy to be a concept candidate, to talk about what you might do, but now when you get into a campaign and you have a lot of scrutiny that a presidential campaign is always going to get, it's a lot harder to withstand all of that. So we're seeing that. But there's by no means this race is just beginning. So we still have a long way to go.
Well, let's take a look at Mitt Romney going after Rick Perry last night, and you guys take off your partisan hats and just score it for me.
If you're dealt 4 aces, that doesn't make you necessarily a great poker player. And by the way, there has been great job growth in Texas. Under Ann Richards, job growth was 2.5% a year. Under George Bush was 3% a year. Under Rick Perry, it's been 1% a year.
All right, Governor Perry, you were dealt this.
Well, I was going to say, Mitch, you were doing pretty good till you got to talking poker.
The Texas draw goes a long way in a debate, doesn't it?
Well, I have to say, one thing about Rick Perry, he's not great at coming back with his rejoinders. Like last time, he had this point about how Michael Dukakis had created more jobs than Mitt Romney, and then Mitt Romney came back at him, and then Perry was just sort of left there, confused about what to say next. And also happened last night with Michelle Bachmann when she accused him of being a crony capitalist, and he made the joke about being offended that he could be bought for $5,000, and then she came back and killed him on the next point. So I wouldn't say that Perry's been a great debater on style points, but you know, from a position area, he's certainly shown a lot of things that the Tea Party has really liked, to destroy Social Security, to end the EPA. I mean, that's where the Republican Party is. That's where the Tea Party has dragged them along to, and I think that he has done a pretty capable job of demonstrating that that's where he is.
But Kevin, what about Michelle Bachmann? Is she still... is she helping Mitt Romney the longer she stays in the race? That's certainly something that we were talking about earlier with Chuck Todd and Charlie Cook, that the longer the other candidates are in and he can stretch this out, the more he can expect them to be his wingmen and beat up on Rick Perry.
Yeah, well, I think that remains to be seen. Look, I mean, sometimes it can get very crowded in certain silos of the race that some candidates want to occupy as they're looking to round up some votes in these early primary states. But ultimately, I think what many of these voters are looking for out there in many of the early primary states and the Republican electorate at large is someone who's going to be able to beat Barack Obama on the number one issue, and that's the economy. So I think, you know, absent the horse race stuff, I think the real reason that Governor Romney is going to be able to earn the nomination is because he's shown that he has the command on the issue of the economy to beat Barack Obama in election. But he also has a very detailed, specific plan that shows his vision for putting the economy back on track and Americans back to work. And that's ultimately going to be the main, I think, variable that many of these voters are going to be entering into their equation when they decide who to support.
And another big issue that came to the surface last night, immigration. Let's watch this.
That is the American way. No matter how you got into that state, from the standpoint of your parents brought you there or what have you. And that's what we've done in the state of Texas.
I think that the American way is not to give taxpayer subsidized benefits to people who've broken our laws or are here in the United States illegally. That is not the American way.
And before we let you folks go, I also wanted to throw this in from John Huntsman. This is John Huntsman's greatest hits, his cultural references last night.
To hear these two go at it over here, it's almost incredible. You've got Governor Romney, who called it a fraud in his book, No Apology. I don't know if that was written by Kurt Cobain or not. For Rick to say that you can't secure the border, I think is pretty much a treasonous comment.
If you're president, What would you bring to the White House?
As a 40-year motorcycle rider, I would bring my Harley Davidson and my motocross bike.
Bill Burton, Kurt Cobain. I'm not sure that's the cultural reference I would want to use in a Republican Tea Party audience in Florida.
I don't know that it works with that crowd, but I wish you had shown the Mitt Romney answer on immigration, because one fascinating thing to me about this primary is that Mitt Romney in the mainstream media is viewed as the more moderate candidate. But here's a person who has taken his rhetoric so far to the right on immigration, you just have to wonder if he's still electable with the biggest growing part of the population. And also on Social Security and Medicare. It's amazing that the Republican Party is in a place where someone like Mitt Romney, who wants to privatize Social Security and essentially end Medicare, is somehow the moderate in this race.
Kevin?
Well, look, I think that it's an extreme position that Governor Romney has when it comes to talking about what we're going to do to secure our borders, make sure that we're not providing incentives for people to come here and break the law. That's a very mainstream position. And I also think that he's very aspirational when he talks about immigration, when it comes to, you know, H-1B visa reform, bringing more people here so that we can grow our economy, basically stapling a visa to diplomas for those that come here and want to create jobs. So I think that's the Mitt Romney that's going to be he's going to be very good in primary, but he's also going to be probably the biggest problem that President Obama has when he's looking to try and get reelected.
Kevin Madden, Bill Burton, great to see you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Andrea.
Good to be with you.